Hey y'all, welcome back. So I've got a really useful DIY for y'all today. I mean, you can read the thumbnail so you know what we're doing, but we're gonna make some homemade makeup brush cleaner today. And yes, I know I'm sitting again. I've mentioned before that I have fibromyalgia and I am having a flare up today. I did something very stupid and I drank expensive beer yesterday. And for those of y'all that don't really realize what that means a lot of carbs. The more expensive the beer, the more carbs in it, and that translates into lots of inflammation in my body. So I'm having a flare up and my legs are killing me and my back hurts, and I thought I'm just going to film this video sitting down. And I thought that this is another one of those where we're pretty much just going to dump everything in there. So I kind of just figured it'll be okay to sit and do it. So if y'all don't like the DIY videos where I do sit, I am sorry, I apologize, but this is what we're working with today. So anyway, like I said, we are going to be making some homemade brush cleaner. And what is great about this is that this is a product that a lot of people buy and they don't realize they don't need to buy it, or they use things to wash their brushes with that are not good for their brushes. Pinterest has tons of recipes for brush cleaner, and something that you will notice is that the majority of them are pretty much the same. They all pretty much contain the same ingredients and the proportions are very similar. And this recipe in particular, I have been making for about a year. Well, no, a couple months. I've been working on this recipe for about a year. And each time I've made it, I've changed it up a little bit until I've finally gotten it absolutely perfect. Now one of the reasons why you see so many different variations of this recipe on Pinterest is because there's only so many ingredients that you can put in a product. And on top of that, each one of these ingredients is very crucial to how the final product works so well. I mean, they're all in there for a purpose. We're not throwing junk in here that we don't need. And so that's why you end up seeing a lot of variations of this recipe online. Now, like I mentioned, there are a lot of people that are probably using things for their brushes to wash them that are not good for them. Two of those things, and that you'll see a lot of recipes online that will call for these ingredients, either Johnson's baby wash, well, any baby wash in general, or Dawn dish soap. Now, neither one of those is good for your brushes, and the main reason is because there's a lot of alcohol in them, which translates into really drying out your brushes, and this can ruin your brushes. And actually, I wish I don't know where it is because Charlotte had it earlier, but the first time I ever made brush cleaner, I made a very similar recipe to this, but I did not have Castille soap and I used Dawn, and it ruined my brush. And thankfully, it was just a little $1 e.l.f. powder brush, but it was actually the best powder brush I've ever owned. And it completely stripped the brush. It's frayed. It made the little like the little bristles stick together and clumpy, and it feels awful. But I did keep it because my girls play with it whenever I do my makeup, so they can kind of, like pretend like they're doing their makeup as well. So I didn't throw it away, but it did completely ruin my brush. But the reason why it does that is because it strips all the oils off the brushes, and the brushes are just like our hair. They need to be moisturized in order to work properly. I mean, there's a reason when you're doing a procedure on your fingernails, it's recommended that you wash your hands in Dawn dish soap. And Johnson's it's definitely more moisturizing. It's not going to strip as much oil, but it's still, for one, I would not support that company. I'm not getting into that. And if you want to, you go right ahead because it's none of my business. But it's just, please just don't do it. In this day and age, I mean, if you're going to make a homemade product, you might as well make it as natural as possible. Now, I will say that just because something is natural does not mean it's good for you. Arsenic and asbestos are natural as well. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if you're going to homemade the product, definitely make it as natural as possible. But, I mean, especially because Castille soap is so readily available nowadays. And so it's not something that is really one of those specialty ingredients like it was even, like maybe 3 years ago? Now, I mean, I get it at Walmart now. And that even Publix has it. That's where I got my Peppermint Castille soap. So, anyway, like I said, we're going to put some ingredients in this that are very essential. Now, I really wouldn't do any substitutions we'll kind of talk about that as we get into each ingredient. So the first thing is, of course, Castille soap. And we are going to be using peppermint, and I recommend using peppermint. And the reason why is because really the main reason, well, we wash our brushes for two reasons. One, we want to get the excess makeup off of them so that they can work properly, and because it's just plain gross. But another reason is because we want to prevent bacteria, fungi, mold, viruses, microorganisms, all of that stuff. We want to prevent that from growing on our brushes. And peppermint oil is one of those kind of wonder ingredients that's basically anti-everything. Now, it is very mild in this ability, but it will help, and it's going to be like our booster, if you will, kind of like when you add borax to your laundry soap to help boost the efficiency, the efficacy, excuse me, of your laundry soap. This is kind of going to do the same thing. Now, you could use whatever scent you wanted and then add about 10 drops of peppermint essential oil to it, but because I have this, we're kind of saving one step. So, I mean, and honestly, you could leave the peppermint out if you wanted to, but it's, like I said, we're boosting its cleaning ability. Then the next thing we're going to use is, of course, Witch Hazel. Witch Hazel is going to help sanitize the brushes, but it is also going to go one step further by preventing too much of the nourishing oil or carrier oil that we are going to add to this. Witch Hazel has this wonderful ability to kind of be able to balance oils out. That's why we actually make toners and astringents out of it, and we put it in a lot of things because it's wonderful at keeping a happy medium kind of there. So that's why we're going to use the Witch Hazel in here today. We're also going to be using a carrier oil. Almond oil, sweet almond oil is my favorite for this. Olive oil and grapeseed oil also work very well, but to me, sweet almond is hands down the way to go with this. I've tried all kinds of oils in this, and the weight is just perfect for your brushes because it's a medium weight oil. And then we're going to be putting tea tree essential oil or melaleuca oil. It's technically the same thing. We're going to be putting this in here. Now, this is the mother of all antifungal essential oils out there. And when we're talking about our brushes, the fungus and the mold are what we're really trying to circumvent. And this is going to help do that. There are other recipes out there with like they have vinegar in them, and they leave the Castille soap out and they put vinegar. Vinegar is a little too acidic in my opinion for a brush cleaner. Now, you'll notice that I did not mention water, and that is why that is what makes this one of my holy grail kind of recipes. And that is because after making it several times, I started thinking, you know, this goes bad too fast with the water, and I'm having to make too small of like a quantity of this cleaner. And so I started thinking, why don't I start decreasing the amount of water that goes in this? Because warm water works better to clean the brushes with anyway. And then what was happening is I would decrease the amount of water in it and then still add warm water to it whenever I was actually cleaning the brushes, and I was diluting it too much. And remember, the reason why we don't want to put water, we want to, you know, keep the amount of water down in our products is because it is the perfect breeding ground for bacteria and other nasties, and it is the easiest way for an ingredient to become contaminated, especially because we're not putting a preservative in it. That's one of the benefits of homemaking your products, is that you don't have to put preservatives in them, and that's why you typically make smaller amounts. But I got to thinking, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave the water out, because I do that already in other recipes. Like when someone has a baby and I make them baby wash, I leave the water out and leave them instructions on how to add the water. That way, whenever they're ready to use the baby wash, you know, they just add the water, and then that way it has less chance of becoming contaminated. So what you're going to do to use this is you are going to pour a little bit of this, and I will give you measurements and everything in a second, but you're just going to pour a little bit of this into your container and then add your warm water to it, and then you can clean your brush. And I'm actually going to demonstrate. I have a very dirty foundation brush right here that I'm going to show you how to clean in a moment. So we're going to go ahead and make this. So like I said, to make this, we're going to need those ingredients I mentioned. You're also going to need a bottle. I am using a glass bottle because we are putting quite a bit of essential oil in this. You definitely need to label it. I cannot find my washi tape. which means one of my 3 children knows where it is, and I'm betting it's the oldest one that is not here right now. So there's no label on this right now. Whenever I find it, I will put a label on it, but you know, you want to label it. And like I said, this is a glass bottle. This is actually a Yoo-Hoo bottle. And I can't believe my husband bought my child Yoo-Hoo because, oh, this stuff. There's not even milk in Yoo-Hoo. Did y'all know that? And I try not to get on people's cases about, like, stuff, like ingredients and what they give their children and stuff, because it's none of my business, because it's not my kid. But, oh my goodness, the junk in this. I told him he's never allowed to buy it again. You're also going to need your glass measure. Like I said with the, what was it we made? The dusting spray the other day, how it's easier to mix it in this and then pour it, because we're going to be using some tablespoons and teaspoons of things as well. And this just makes it easier. Just mix it all up in here and then pour it in your bottle. You're going to need a whisk to stir it with, and you're going to need a funnel. And so we're going to go ahead and measure this out. And I have my cheat sheet right here in front of me, because y'all know I always forget my proportions. Even though I make these recipes up and I constantly work with them and tweak them, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to start with our Witch Hazel, and we need 1 cup of Witch Hazel. I have a visitor. You can come in. So we're going to do 1 cup of Witch Hazel. And I'm pouring it just into my liquid measurer here. Okay. And here's our 1 cup. And then to that, we're going to add 4 teaspoons of our Castille soap. So, oh look, you can see. Okay, so 1. That seriously just plopped up in my eye. Oh, I thought my makeup looked pretty today too. Not anymore. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, of course, to prevent the waste, I'm going to swish my measuring spoon in here. Let me put the lid back on this so I don't drop this. And then we're going to add our oil, excuse me. And we're going to be using Sweet Almonds. Like I said, I recommend this one more than anything else. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of oil to this. Because this is a medium weight oil, so this is perfect to help condition the bristles, but not to leave too much behind so that it makes them greasy on the face. Remember, like I said in the facial cleanser video that we made, you don't want the thicker, the thickier words. Okay. The thicker or heavier weight the oil is, actually the less, or the more rather, that is going to be left behind on whatever surface you've applied it on. So if you're using a lighter weight oil, you're going to leave less on there. So it's still going to do its job and moisturize the bristles. It's also going to help dissolve some of the makeup. But because it's a lighter weight oil, you're not leaving a whole bunch of excess on there. And that can also lead to a buildup on your brushes and can prevent them from absorbing the right amount of product to apply it to your face, and it'll basically just slide around. Okay, then we're going to add our oil. We're going to be doing 20 drops. I know that seems like a lot, but we do need quite a bit to make this effective. And I'm not going to bother taking it off. I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Uh-oh, this is almost gone. Well, I mean, not that bad. Okay, and then we're just going to give it a quick whisk. Oh, I heard my baby. She's taking her nap. And then we're just going to pour it in our bottle. Like so. And then I'm going to show you, like I said, I'm going to show you how to use it. And I'm going to show you a little neat trick if you don't have a brush cleaning mat. Although, there is a YouTuber that I watch, and I can't remember which one it is, so I'm not going to say whose name it is because I don't want to be wrong, like, and tell you the wrong person. But there is a YouTuber I watch that did one of those DIY brush mats. And she took a Play-Doh cap and put took hot glue and drew like squiggles and lines and stuff on it, and it said it works just as well. And here it is. And to use this, you're going to shake this up. It is going to separate because remember, oil and water do not mix, and we did not emulsify this. And your Witch Hazel and your oil are not going to mix. All right, so to use this, you're going to take some warm water. I ran my tap water to hot, and then I poured my water in here. It's a little thermos. You're going to need warm water. You're going to need this mixture, and you're going to need some type of container. I like to use, this is like one of those little whiskey glasses of my husband's. And what you need to do is make sure that it has been washed in hot soapy water, left to air dry, and then you have sprayed it with alcohol. You do not want to defeat the whole purpose of washing the dang brush only to add bacteria into it this way. And you're going to add about a tablespoon of water to this, of your warm water. So I'm going to pour a little bit of water in here. Just a little. We do not want to dilute this mixture too much because we've already diluted the soap with a whole cup of water. I mean, Witch Hazel, excuse me. I don't want to spill it. Excuse me. Okay, then you're going to shake up this mixture. And so I have about this much water in here, as you can see. And then we're going to put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this in here. I do not measure. I just eyeball it. Okay, there we go. And now you're going to add your brush to it. Now, you can obviously do several brushes at a time, but what I like to do is I take my brush and I dip it in here and I swish it around. Oh, look at that. It's already turning like beige. I think that's coming off on camera. Yeah. So I put it in here and I let it swish it around. I'm actually going to add a little bit more to this. You want this to cover the brush, the majority of the brush. And let me see if I can get this where you can see. Do you see how high up this is? Yes, I have my Patriots nails because they're going to the Super Bowl again. You see how high up this is right here? This is what you want. And I let this sit for about 5 minutes. Now, to finish off what you're, cleaning it. Now, you can definitely let it sit longer or shorter. You're not going to hurt anything, but you kind of basically want to do it depending on how dirty the brush is. I do this about every 2 weeks, depending on how often I wear makeup, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I do not leave my house every day and go to a job and apply makeup every single day. Now, to wash the brush, to continue washing the brush, what you can do, if you do not have a brush mat, you can use a soap saver. And what you would do is go run your water to hot, and then take your brush. I should have grabbed, oh, I got a towel right there. Okay. Take your brush and start running the hot water over it and rub the brush, the bristles of the brush into the soap saver with the water running over it until the water runs clear. Then once you've done that, take the brush and pat it dry gently with a clean paper towel or a clean dish towel or hand towel. Make sure it is actually clean. Make sure it hasn't been sitting out for a couple days so it can grow bacteria and whatnot. You want to make sure that it is clean. Again, we're putting this stuff on our face, so we want to make sure that everything is as clean as possible. I mean, a few germs are good, but not in this instance. And so you're just going to, once you've dried it gently, you're going to kind of reshape the brush and then sit it on the towel somewhere where it's not going to be disturbed, and you're going to let it dry, preferably overnight. It depends on the bristles of the brush and everything as to how long it dries. Now, you definitely need to make sure that you do this. And in fact, if you find that you have been taking very good care of your skin, but then all of a sudden you're getting these little tiny breakouts, especially if you're getting what we call congestion, which is basically where sebum is trapped under a layer of your stratum corneum, which is the outer layer of skin, that's a good indication that your brushes are probably dirty and you're getting a lot of bacteria and trapped oil, or not trapped oil, but you're getting a lot of bacteria and excess oil that your skin does not want or need on it from your brush. So make sure, now if you wore, I can't talk today, I'm sorry. Make sure that you do this about a week, once a week, if you're one of those people that wears makeup every single day. If not, you can do about a week and a half. Basically, you'll be able to look at them and tell. Your eye brushes do not obviously have to be washed as frequently as your facial brushes do, because your eye brushes are very typically not using cream products, whereas the powder products like plain old eyeshadow can usually be wiped off. I do not wash my eyeshadow brushes as frequently as I wash my facial brushes. All right, I'm gonna have to end this because I can't talk, y'all. All right, so I think I covered everything. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and let me know in the description or in the comment section. I will, as always, put the proportions in the description box down below. If you have tried this or you have a great variation of this, go ahead and let me know. I would love to hear everybody else's recipes. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, go ahead and do that, because I would love to grow my channel and make more friends and be able to, you know, interact with more people. If you did like this video and would like to see more of these DIYs like this, especially like the makeup kind of DIYs, because I do have a couple that I'm working on right now, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any requests, of course, go ahead and let me. I would love to make whatever y'all really want to see. And as always, thank y'all so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.